smile. Up to her eyes in surprises and tricks. No disguising, she's a little handful of trouble, a bundle of fun. Glad you could make it, so glad you could come. Little Miss, we're waiting for you. Ready, steady, how do you do?
Here comes trouble, people used to say. And who do you think would come walking along? Oh, watch it, here comes trouble. That's right, little Miss Trouble. Oh, the trouble she caused. One morning, she went to see Mr. Uppity.
Do you know what Mr. Small calls you behind your back?
No. What does Mr. Small call me behind my back?
Well, Mr. Small says that you're so
Yes,
riveting.
yes.
That's high.
I see, really, does he really? Now, Mr. Uppity didn't like that. Not at all. Not one little bit. He went round immediately to find Mr. Small. Little Miss Trouble hugged herself with glee.
Oh, I do like making trouble. There's nothing like a spot of trouble, I say, to liven up the day.
What a naughty girl. Little Miss Trouble went to see Mr. Clever.
I say, do you know what Mr. Small calls you behind your back?
No, tell me, what does Mr. Small call me behind my back?
Well, Mr. Small
Yes.
says that you think you're...
Really?
Really?
Really? Does he really? Now, Mr. Clever didn't like that very much either. Off he rushed to find Mr. Small. Little Miss Trouble was so pleased with herself.
Oh, I do like making trouble. It's no trouble for me, you see. In fact, it's easy peasy.
She went to see Mr. Worry.
Hey, do you know what Mr. Small says about you behind your back?
No. No, tell me, what does Mr. Small say about me behind my back?
Well, Mr. Small says...
Oh, yes. Well, I don't believe it. Mr. Worry was furious. Off he worried to find Mr. Small. Little Miss Trouble was beside herself with glee.
Oh, I do like making trouble. It's so much fun for me.
Mr. Small was working in the corner shop. He was busy stacking boxes of sweets on the counter. Suddenly, the door flew open, and in rushed Mr. Uppity, followed very closely by Mr. Clever, followed even closer by Mr. Worry. Look here! I want a word with you. We want to see you. Yes, we want to see you right away. Yes, I'd like to see you too. I really would like to see you. Mr. Small almost jumped out of his skin. He took one step backwards and fell off the counter, bringing half the boxes down on top of him. When little Miss Trouble heard what had happened to poor Mr. Small, she chuckled to herself all the way home. Mr. Small arrived at the hospital in an ambulance and hobbled in to see the doctor. Good heavens! Whatever's happened to you? Asked Dr. Make-You-Well. Mr. Small told the doctor his story. Oh, I see. Well, I think that something should be done about that little lady. What she needs is... Yes. Yes, that's it. What's it? Said Mr. Small. Dr. Make-You-Well whispered something into Mr. Small's ear. Would you like to know what he whispered? Well, I'm not telling you. It's a secret. That afternoon, Mr. Small went to see Mr. Tickle. Hey, do you know what Miss Trouble calls you behind your back? What does Miss Trouble call me behind my back? Mr. Small looked at him. Pudding face. What? Pudding face. Then Mr. Small went to see Mr. Bump. Hello, Mr. Bump. Hello. Do you know what Miss Trouble calls you behind your back? No. What does Miss Trouble call me behind my back? Mr. Nitwit. What? Mr. Nitwit. Little Miss Trouble was in trouble. How dare you call me Pudding-Face? Said Mr. Tickle angrily. And he tickled her. And how dare you call me Mr. Nitwit? Said Mr. Bump. And he bumped her. Now, I don't know whether you've ever been tickled and bumped at the same time, but it's not much fun. In fact, it's no fun at all. Tickle bump, tickle bump, tickle bump, tickle bump, tickle bump, for 10 minutes. And 10 minutes of tickle bumping is a long time, I can tell you. Later that evening, Dr. Makewell strolled round to see Mr. Small. Hello, Mr. Small. How's your foot? Oh, much better now, thank you. And did our little plan work? It did indeed, yes. Shake, said Dr. Makewell, and they shook hands. Well, not quite hands. Dr. Makewell then strolled round to see Miss Trouble. She was feeling very sorry for herself. Oh, I see. And what's wrong with you? And she told him all about it. All about everything.
Mr. Small went round and told Mr. Tickle that I called him Pudding Face and I didn't. Then Mr. Small told Mr. Bump that I called him Nitwit and I didn't. And then Mr. Tickle and Mr. Bump came round and went tickety-bump, tickety-bump, tickety-bump.
Oh, cheer up. You know what you've just had, don't you? Little Miss Trouble shook her head.
No? What?
A taste of your own medicine.
She's blunt.
He's fun. They're late. And naughty. It's Tickle.
She's troubles.
Sunshine. We're helpful, tiny. Neat.
I'm silly.
Happy. She's little Miss Sunshine.
I'm fussy and greedy.
And
I'm truly.
It's magic.
I'm mean.
Bossy.
Dream.
Scatterbrain.
And the vast
Splendid impossible team, all friends together, the little Miss and Mr. Men, all friends